What's up guys, Maverick here, welcome back to the channel as we continue our weekly dosage of Monogatari. And today we are starting our next installment of the series, which is Nekomonogatari Black, otherwise known as Nekomonogatari Kuro, which means black. So, pretty simple translation this time. For those of you who haven't figured out already, I am watching this in the light novel order, so the way that the author Nishio Ishin wrote them. I typically like to watch works in a way that the original author intended them to be watched, so even though the airing order is a little bit different, I decided to stick with this kind of method, right? And with this series out of the way, I believe that also concludes the first season, if you will, of the Monogatari series. Although how you actually have a season when it's a light novel first and foremost, that kind of puzzles me. But anyways, I do know that this series is only 4 episodes, and it's only going to be focused on Hanekawa, right? Which, you might already... I guess I can already imply just based on the name of it. Neko means cat, right? And Hanekawa, apparition with thingamajig or whatnot has to do with a cat. And it actually kind of works out, right? Because in Nisei, we saw very, very little of Hanekawa, so it's sort of a nice balance to have her come out in this series. By the way, if there's any of you guys who are actually new here, who just stumbled upon this video by chance, I recommend you guys go all the way back to Bake, and, go along with my journey there, right? Or you can start here. I'm not going to I'm not going to question you on that. As usual though, all the different parts of my videos will be timestamped below, so you can just jump to whichever part that you want. So, I think that about covers it. Not really that much else to explain about this. I mean, it's by the same director, it's by the same studio, it's by the same voice actors and voice actresses. So, well, let's just get into it, shall we? Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Hey. Holy moly, that was a lot of text there. Okay. Huh. The animation does seem a little bit different, though. Is it just me? I feel like it feels a bit more closer to Kizu than to Nisei. Yeah, and this is a prequel, right? I think I saw on the synopsis that this was a prequel. Oh, now we have the opening. Really jumps back and forth, don't they? Okay, I would venture a guess and say this is Hanekawa's voice actress saying this. Yui. Huh. Really? Hanekawa knows how to play the guitar? Yeah, it's her singing it. This is certainly a way different style than I generally expect out of the Monogatari series. At least of the 3 series I've seen so far. Huh. Alright. Wait, so what's this timeline? The timeline is after Araragi got involved with Heart Underblade. Right. It should be after that, right? Golden Week. So it's about the time when Hanekawa got her manifestation of the apparitions, right? Try imagining if they're with someone else. Do you feel jealous? Punch! Say so. H-san. ん？Too much information. TMI. Huh. Oh yeah, both Karen and Tsukiki have boyfriends, right? I might. Yeah. And yet, Hanekawa is not the girl he ended up with. Huh. Huh. I gotta say, they have a pretty good relationship as brother and sister. I'd say it's normal. What? Alright. Here comes the fun stuff. Well, that's true. Hmm. Arargi, no words. But I mean, we already saw him in, just in Nisei, right, with Karen. Although actually, is it just me, or have they actually gone more and more? In the past, I feel like they sort of danced around this sort of thing, but now, just directly right there. I mean, like for instance, back in Kizu, at the end he chickened out, didn't he? And yet here he's just like. Wait. So is Tsuki actually the reason why Araki did not? Never mind. Oh, so it used to be below his bed. Alright. $10, he's gonna meet Hanekawa at the bookstore. Right as he's about to buy a book. Is that... Is that sweat? Marathon then. Is he gonna grab her boobs? And now he's acting all serious. I can't. Alright, Hanekawa. Failure? Hmm? The relationship between these two is just so puzzling to me. I recall that she isn't really on good terms with her family, right? Yeah, they're her step parents, right? Huh? Yeah. Okay, I think this confusion might be because I was watching it in something different from Marrying Order, right? Oh, I think I saw a flashback of this, right? Back in Kizu.
今朝お父さんに殴られたの。
Right. I think she talked a little about this back in Kizu, right?
ちょっと腹が立っちゃってもカチンときちゃってもそれは仕方がないと思わない？
And in the end, she asked Aragi to not do anything, right?
あ、あれ、そんなリアクションなの？ここってそういうシーンなの？荒木くんが私の寝室に心を打たれてしぶしぶながら持ちんぼこを約束してくれるシーンじゃないの？
No, Aragi's not like that.
しかし、本当に果たして何をさせればいいんだ？選択肢が多すぎる。
It's gonna circle back in some way, right?
むしろこれは小論文だ。僕には今、構成力が要求されている。待てよ、そういえば羽根川は叶える願いの数を経験していない。つまりさっきの言葉、トリオによれば僕の言うことを無限に聞いてくれるという意味じゃないのか？釈明させてしまったぜ。とりあえず、人気のない場所に行こうか、羽根川。はいはい、わかりました。どうせ行くとこなんてないしね。
I mean, she
近くの茂みに連れ込んで、
probably enjoy.
何を荒木くん、随分ともったいぶるじゃない。それとも何も思いつかないのかな？それとも荒木くんのしたいことなの？主観ってやつ？羽根川、何？全身を舐めるように見ることが僕のしたいことでは？ 僕はお前のそのガーゼの下の殴られた傷を舐め回したいのだ。
Okay. Quite the first episode, right? Anyways, as usual, since this is the first time seeing this ending, we'll see this through. Ooh, I like this ending song actually. Oh, that was a little bit too fast. I couldn't see who was the one who sang it. This sort of ending is the same as Bake, right? I remember Bake had the same sort of drawing art style. Alright, apparently there's still some more. Hmm.
おやが不審に思う。おもわないよ。そういう人たちじゃないから、私が髪をバッサリ切っても、あの人たちは気づかないんじゃないかな。多分あの人たちは私の顔も覚えてない。
That's kind of hard to believe, honestly.
買い物。いや、買い物はしていない。欲求不満の解消どころか、もやもやとした気持ちは増すばかりだ。思う思いは重く募るばかり。
Alright, I think this is the preview part. Yeah. Alright, see you guys after this. Alrighty, so that was episode 1, and I just gotta say, I kinda called it at the very end there, where, even though Araragi was going off and doing his ridiculous stuff, again, in terms of, getting Hanekawa to do anything that he wants, in the end, it did come full circle, and he did use it in order to sort of solve the topic at hand, right? So I think I'm kind of figuring out Araragi's behavioral patterns now. I think, 4 series in, I can kind of predict what he's actually going to do, which is a plus, right? It's growth from my side, since as I've mentioned numerous times before, I feel like his character is the one that I really can't get a good grasp on, simply because, I don't know, the way that he thinks about things is just so different and so out there in a way, so it's really hard to grasp what exactly he's going to do in terms of any certain situations. But, still the kind gentleman till the very end. He didn't really take advantage of Hanekawa in any way. I wouldn't think so, considering he didn't do anything in Kizu, right? But yeah, speaking of which, so, every time we kick off a new series in the Monogatari, a set of stories, they always gotta have the first episode come out with a bang, right? So this one was no different, and, the funny thing is, I kind of thought about it, right? So, most particularly, I'm talking about the scene where Araragi just directly grabbed Tsukihi's boobs without any hesitation at all, right? So, I also mentioned in the episode as well, like, that got me thinking. So, how come, right here, he has no hesitation at all, and yet in the past, through the 3 series that we have already watched before, he seems to, even though he's quite relentless in terms of the things that he says and whatnot, he never actually acts out on the more perverted things in the end there. He still, keeps it within reason to a certain extent. And so I was wondering, like, what's the difference? How come he can do it to Tsukihi? And the conclusion that I came up with is, even though it makes no sense in a way, there is some logic behind this, right? I do believe that on a subconscious level, or maybe even on a conscious level, Aragi still views his sisters as his sisters, right? Now, generally you wouldn't be grabbing your sister's boobs and fondling them and whatnot, but I feel like to him, he feels that because they are his sisters, he's able to do these kinds of things, and it doesn't really count. If that makes sense at all. But can you see the logic there? So he's not, even though, he has plenty of opportunities to do so, he's not doing anything with Sandra Gahar. Well, I say that, but No, I think some people were saying that he did kind of get it on with Senjugahara in the end, within Nisei, right? Now, is that true or not? I don't really know. We'll put that aside for now, but he never really did anything with Hanekawa back in Kizu, right? Even though he had all the opportunity to follow her, he didn't really do anything to Kambaru, and he didn't do anything to Sengoku as well. Now Mayoi, I think he always also is kind of touchy-feely with her, but I think her situation is also a little bit different, right? So once again, you might even say that to Araragi, Mayoi is also sort of outside of the strike range in a way, since she is a a fourth grader, I think, and also the fact that she's not even real in the first place, right? She is actually an apparition. She's a monster. I guess we really shouldn't use monster to call them, but apparition, Akai, right? So technically she's not human. So maybe in Aragi's mind, there's still this sort of distinction between these two, and I think that goes for Shinobu as well, because she's not exactly human. I think Araragi actually treats her a little bit differently, and so that is the conclusion that I came to my own sort of question, I guess you could say. Otherwise, I was kind of thinking, are they actually making the series progressively more and more perverted as the years goes on? Back in Bake, even though there were some of these more perverted jokes, age jokes, or whatnot, they didn't really go overboard with them, right? However, here I definitely wasn't expecting him to just. But I gotta say that was quite hilarious. Okay, so don't worry, I'm not a very politically correct guy. I have no qualms whatsoever with this type of content. So it's fun for me, and it's at the end of the day. I think if you are continuing to watch this series, you probably enjoy it as well. So there was that part, and Karen is Karen as usual. I did love her quote at the very end. If you want to bear their children, that means that you want to get. That means that you're in love with them, right? Like, such a cool line, I guess you could say. And even though she's like half naked and she's just like one hand on her hips. If I feel that I want to bear their child, I'm in love with them, right? I can't get over the fact like how naturally that came out, even though the entire situation is ridiculous. Oh man. So yeah, so we got our fair share of laughs in this episode as well. In terms of the entire Hanekawa situation, now I do think that for me it is a little bit spoiled because I already watched Kizu, right? I think in terms of the airing order, this actually came before Kizu, so they go into the series with the assumption that the viewer has not actually seen or heard anything about Hanekawa's situation yet. However, I already have because I watched Kizu first, right? So I don't really have that much else to comment on that. I do kind of feel like, because I also went back and watched the very beginning where there was like this wall of text, right? And I think the general idea of it is basically saying that Araragi at the end of the Golden Week, at the end of this arc, if you will, probably by the end of Nekomonogatari Black, he actually comes out of it with a sort of apprehension towards Hanekawa, and I think that might play a deciding factor in why he didn't end up with Hanekawa in the end here, right? So again, because I already watched Kizu before, and considering how all the other characters as well, they sort of question why Araragi did not end up with Hanekawa, right? And I'm sure that's also a question on a lot of people's minds. Mayoi has said it, Kambaru has said it as well. I kind of forgot if Aragi's sisters said it or not. But Senjugahara definitely also feels Hanekawa is her biggest threat, right? So, everybody is thinking this way, and yet in the end, he didn't do anything with Hanekawa, he ended up with Senjugahara, right? And I do kind of feel like this particular story here, Nekomonogatari, is probably the deciding factor in that. And I mean, I guess you could also kind of make an argument for what Tsukihi was saying in this episode, how maybe Araragi at the end of the day is just more attracted by her by her figure than he actually wants to get into a relationship with her just because of her personality, of the way that she is, etc., etc. Right? That, I guess that can also be a possibility there. However, I do kind of feel like the series wouldn't go for something as shallow as that. So it's probably having to do with some mental issue that that resulted from the end of this arc. So I guess we should just continue to watch on and see, right? And yeah, that's basically it for the first episode here. I'm still kind of wondering though. Once I finish this, should I continue directly on with Nekomonogatari White? I know that is technically in the second season, but it just kind of feels weird to me that it's part of the Nekomonogatari series, and yet they're not included together, right? In fact, this series itself, I kind of have my question marks as well. Like, it's only 4 episodes. Why couldn't they have just put it as a together with one of the other seasons, right? Like immediately after Nisei, for instance. Nisei only had 11 or 10 episodes, right? So they could have easily put this behind that and make it another full season. So I don't know. But anyways, that's it for episode 1. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Stay tuned, and bye bye.